I see designers creating mood boards all the time, every semester in my class, actually. And I think it's kind of accepted that this is something we're supposed to do. But no one ever really talks about the true purpose of the mood board. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikkel Drew Pelham. I talk about digital fashion design software and communication for fashion entrepreneurs on this channel. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you've seen a lot of my previous videos on this channel, you know that I am not an art for art's sake kind of girl, especially when it comes to fashion business. I like to be productive, and if I'm spending my time doing something for my business or my career, I need to know that there's a purpose. And so a while ago, I began challenging a lot of the tasks that we traditionally do as designers, researching the purpose and evaluating whether those tasks were still necessary, especially given today's technological advancements. Mood boards happen to be at the top of the list because I always felt like I created this pretty board, but then I really didn't do much with it. It was just a part of the final presentation, which made me question, do I really need to create this board? Well, in my research, something that I discovered and something I think often gets overlooked is that this board is supposed to serve as a design tool. Right. The part I think people get caught up in is the mood. This is often why I don't ask for my students to make a mood board. I ask them for a concept board because the concept board more accurately represents what this board is for a designer. The concept board tells the story of the collection and helps to inspire the designs. Once you complete the concept board, it should serve as a tool for you to now design your collection. It should inspire textures and fabrics, design lines, silhouette. And when I look at your concept board and then I look at your collection, I can see a clear connection between the two. I should be able to see that one was inspired by the other. I have an excellent example of this by one of my former students. She created this concept board, which I think is an exceptional example of what a concept board should look like and the elements it should include. This is her board, and her collection was called Anatomical. I usually have my students include a concept statement with their concept board, which she did, but one of the things I love about her board is that it visually tells a story, even without the concept statement. And keep in mind that even if the viewer can't make a complete statement about your concept board, like they can't say, this concept board is about blank, they should still be able to see the connection, if that makes sense. Like, I often have concept boards where I can tell all of the images tell a cohesive story, but I can't quite find the words to describe it. Sometimes what I'll do is try to put individual words or emotions to what I'm seeing to help me better understand the board. For instance, with this board, the words that came to mind are volume, fullness, and structure, which was exactly what the person was trying to convey with this imagery. And with Lucia's board, though she'd already told me the backstory of the inspiration, the visuals further solidified the inspirational elements of anatomy, x-rays, posture, architecture, and structure. The other thing I think she did really well was to curate the visuals she used. First of all, I think all of the images perfectly add to the visual storytelling. Even the fact that she kept it black and white in shades of gray, like an x-ray or a skeleton. And then each of the visuals serve as design inspiration for design lines, texture, construction details. And you'll be able to see that when I show you some of the designs. But the point is to make sure that what you're adding to this board helps you create the actual design. So you're not trying to just pull ideas out of thin air. Another thing you might notice about this board is that there are no runway or model photos on it. This is a bit of a hot topic because there are some who believe there should be no runway or editorial photos on a concept board and that it should only be conceptual pictures. And I get that thinking. As a designer, you want to be reinterpreting something into fashion or apparel. And when a garment is already there, sometimes you get a little too referential and end up knocking off their technique instead of reinterpreting or creating your own. However, You and I have seen some avant-garde and couture runway pieces that are like works of art. And so I can see why someone might find inspiration in one of those garments and want to include it on their board. Like with most things, it's a fine line that you have to find a way to delicately balance. Okay, so now to the designs. The first one is my favorite piece, which is the bomber jacket. And if you sit next to the concept board, I see the twisted overlaid fabric as an interpretation of this area of the bony torso and even the center of this skeleton. The construction down the front of the pants feels like an interpretation of vertebrae or even crisscrossing of the pipe structure. This draped corset is also a lovely reinterpretation of the bone structure of the torso. And then if you notice, there are several areas of the board that show layering or feel like they have a layered effect. So when it came time for Lucia to create her color CAD, first of all, the colors were black and shades of gray, which I normally don't allow. I like the students to use at least one brighter color, but given the concept, it felt completely appropriate. And then in most of her styles, there was an element of layering. What's more is that this concept board could have inspired so much more. The students were only tasked with designing 6 styles, but I can easily see this providing inspiration for print and pattern, graphics, embroideries, different fabric textures, and additional construction techniques like pleating or quilting. That's when you know you've created a good concept board, when it spurs multiple ideas and makes the design of the collection easy. As you embark on your next collection, you will probably start with a mood board. And I want you to approach it not just as if you're setting the vibe of the collection, but with the understanding that this board is your design tool to help guide you as you create your new designs. So make sure that there's not just a bunch of vibey pictures on the board, but that there are images that you can pull inspiration from when you're deciding what fabrics you're choosing, or where that design line is going to be located, or which construction techniques you want to lean into. That, friend, is the purpose of you creating this board. Thanks for watching today's video. If you want to learn a bit more about creating a mood board or a great tool to use to create your boards, check out these 2 videos. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time.